My name is Kenvar Jr. I'm a sophomore, about to be a junior, studying professional flight technology, which is like a fancy way of saying I'm here to be a pilot. I'm from Gary, Indiana. I currently live in Maryville, but most of my life was in Gary, so I always say I'm from Gary, Indiana. Um, 6 months ago, I was a peer mentor over the summer, so I was basically in charge of the high school group for people who are here doing summer courses. And I was on my way to go pick them up one day when two people they came up to me and they just like, "Hey, can we pray for you?" And I was like, "Well, I've got time," so I just it's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And then that kind of sparked the idea of, okay, I need to start thinking about faith. And then those guys, they were from a non-denominational church, so then it was like, all right, learning about the faith, going through that, and then learning from them about the faith. And then I started doing my own research, and I was like, there's so much more. Like, what is a Baptist, a Lutheran, Presbyterian, is Catholic, Orthodox? What's going on here? And then unfortunately tragedy struck after that, because I was going through some troubles in my relationship, and being religious was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And then it kind of just spiraled down there. So I don't know. I'm not one for self-diagnosis, but that was pretty clear-cut depression. I had no motivation to do anything, no motivation to eat, sleep. When I tried to eat food, it tasted like garbage. And to top it off, this happened during fall break, so most of my friends were either gone or busy. So I was kind of just coiled up in a ball for 2 days. And then so one day I'm just walking around and I see someone wearing a Boiler Catholic shirt, and it gives me the idea. It's planting that idea. I had thought okay, non-denominational is fine, but that's not it. So I was thinking either Orthodox or Catholic, and I checked out an Orthodox church, but it really kind of turned into a thing of convenience, because I would have to drive there every day, and it was okay, I really can't physically do this while still being in class. And also in terms of thinking about the theology of it never really caught on to me, because it was kind of shotgun. I didn't really find the theology of the faith of why I prefer the Catholic Church until I was in OCIA. But that's skipping ahead. But yeah, I was okay, I can't go to the Orthodox Church every day. And then I was one day the depression was hitting hard. I was at Stewart, and it's okay, St. Tom's is literally right across the street. Let's see what's going on. And then I kind of just loitered around until someone showed me around, and then I was hey, do you want to become Catholic? And I was how do I do that? And I'm around in the gathering area, and then she's hey, what's your name? What are you doing here? And I was I'm Kenvar. I don't know what I'm doing here. Can you help me? And she gave me a tour of the basement, and then that's where I met the first name I ever learned here at St. Tom's was Fiona Ghislaine from the basement. She introduced herself, said hi, and basically that was my introduction. It's everyone's so nice here. And then Liz gave me the information for OCIA. So my first experience here was just learning oh man, everybody's so nice. While I was in OCIA, I was like I said before, it was a shotgun idea, and I was kind of feeling the faith. But then it was I remember after going to my first mass, I was oh, that was different from the times I've been to regular church, even before I had started thinking about faith. So then I had asked one of the priests, Father Peter, about it, and I was hey, what's a rosary? And he's wait one moment, and then he comes back and gives me a rosary. So then it's that night I was I kind of stumbled around, because it was my first time doing a rosary, but I prayed it, and once it was over, it was I was just reflecting on that experience along with the mass, and I was just okay, I think this is the road I'm taking. OCIA is the Order of Catholic Initiation for Adults. Right, okay, so that's what it's called. It's basically teaching you the basics, it's how to crawl before you can walk, how to walk before you can run. Gives you the basics of the faith, things like Mariology, what is sin, what are angels, things like that. There's the basics. Is by the end of it, you'll know enough that you won't feel scared to talk about it. I'm still working on that though, because I joined the OCIA program late. It was mid-October. Yeah, it was mid-October when I joined, and that was 6 weeks after the program started, so I was basically on catch-up the entire time. But I didn't really feel I missed out on much. It was people were welcoming. It was more okay, these are a new group of people who are in this not same situation with me. Some of them don't go to Purdue, some of them are graduate students. It's even though we're all different backgrounds, it's well, we're all here for the same reason. So it's that connection. And over the 6-month process afterwards, it was like, okay, I'm like comfortable enough to call these people friends. I would definitely say I definitely feel like a little different. It feels like I have like more, I don't know, if you're like a health bar. It feels like my maximum health just got extended from like 100 to like 200. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, I don't know. I've got like, I don't know if more motivation is the right word, but it's like I feel like I want to do things at the church more. Like, for example, taking the Eucharist. Like, that was the big thing. I was like, I can finally do the Eucharist. So now I have like double, like times 2 motivation to go to daily mass. So I've been trying to do that. Challenges is definitely like wrestling with like the idea of the existence of God, and especially like the idea of like evil. But then James did his like 3-week presentation on like goodness, suffering, and the evil, suffering, and the goodness of God. So it really just felt like that was like God being like, hey, here, come here, like this explains it. So like that was that. The other challenge was like other people. Like most of my friends are like secular, so and even just like not even just being Christian, but like Catholic specifically, I don't know, they always like make the joke about the priests. So like, especially since like not just new to Catholic faith, but like new to faith as a whole, I didn't really feel like I could say anything because like I don't know what I'm talking about. Should I say something? So that's always been the challenge, and I'm still working on that now. Because like, for example, they could be like, "Oh, I heard from my friend that Catholics believe this," and I'd be like, "Do we?" So then it's like, okay, I need to do more like research. I need to learn all 2,000 years of theology. I don't need to know everything, but it's always good to at least like know people who know. With the Eucharist, for sure, because it's like going to daily mass during OCIA. Like that was just something I chose to do. I went to like, I tried to go to daily mass as much as I could. It would always be like, man, I feel like so close to Christ, but it's like that little extra like bit of separation because like I can't receive the Eucharist yet. So then like finally being able to do it, it feels like it wasn't just like a bit missing. Like before it's just like, okay, well I just can't take the Eucharist. But once I take the Eucharist, it feels like rather than it being like this, it felt like that. And like now that I can take the Eucharist, it feels so much more. In terms of like the other sacrament is confession. I just did my first confession on Wednesday, and I was kind of afraid to do it because it's like, oh man, I'm going to like openly use my words to talk about what I have done, like my sins. And that's usually not something I do like in general with people, not even my parents most of the time. So it's like doing that more something I need to do. So it's like pulling that out of me, and like just after confession, it just feels like a weight off my shoulders from day one. Like I remember after I had done my first mass on a Wednesday night mass, but I remember I think my second was that Thursday. Boiler Catholic Men's Group, right after mass was over, they were going to go get pizza, and I remember the guy Alex Worthing, who ended up becoming my sponsor, he invited me to come with Boiler Catholic Men to go get pizza at Mad Mush, and that was like the first group I joined for Boiler Catholics. And then it was just kind of like from there, I was like doing the weekly things, and it was like I felt like there was so much I wanted to do like here, just like being at the church. So I pretty much just like tried to do everything I can. Like if there's an event, I'm like, is there like open space? Is there something like do I need to have experience for this? Because like I don't know, that's just like a general thing about me is that when it comes to doing things, I'm always down to do something even if I don't 100% know what I'm doing. So I always have to ask that question. It's like, do you need someone with experience first? If not, I'm an extra pair of hands. But yeah, in terms of not just like Boiler Catholics Men, but like the Boiler Catholic Everybody, like the socials group, always good. Like the formal dance, everything. There's also Outcats. For as much as I've wanted to, I haven't been able to do it because it's on Saturdays, and for some reason I've always ended up busy on Saturdays. But Outcats, there's so much to do like here at the parish of Boiler Catholics that it almost like makes me feel like sad knowing that in 2 years I'm gonna have to like figure something else out at a different parish. Getting to the point where I can like look back and be like, man, it has been a journey. Because usually when it comes to experiences, like just in general experiences, it's always like in the moment where I'm like, man, this is gonna be a moment in the future, but I always struggle with like feeling the moment, like in the moment. It's always gotta be like afterwards. Like Boiler Awakening, pretty cool. And it's like in the moment, it felt good, but it was like the days after, like once it was over, I was like, man, that was like an experience. And that's just what I feel like with I feel like that's gonna be like magnified with like being a Catholic, not even in just like just thinking about graduation. Like a few months after graduation, I can just look back at my time here St. Tom's, I'll be like, man, it's been a journey, and it's just gonna exponentially get higher than that. Just be like an extra pair of hands in whichever ministry possible is like that's good enough for me. But I just want to like get to know everybody and also like do service because that's kind of like my thing. I don't know. When I think about like the gifts God has given me, it always comes back to like what can I do for others, and so like service is kind of like my purpose. So like being able to just help out wherever I can. That's what I like to do. My advice is don't feel like you need to learn everything in OCIA. OCIA is meant to be like the start line to become Catholic. Don't feel like you need to know all of Thomas Aquinas' Summas, or you need to read I can't even give an example because like I'm not there yet, but like don't feel like you need to know everything going into it. Just like take it slow, take it bit by bit. Don't feel like it's like the weight of 2,000 years of theology on your shoulders, because there are people who have been Catholic like their whole lives and don't have all of that information.